Good day. Check out the hats, Ubuntu Fellowship. We've got the first one made. Let's go. We are moving. In this video, I'm going to talk about the wild man. If you want to learn about the wild man, the best book for this is Iron John by Robert Bly. The wild man is undomesticated. So if you ever watch a James Bond movie or any of the movies in which the man is the man, James Bond is like the best representation of this avatar. And this man gets what he wants. He can do it all, but he also has the nuance of being able to have conversations with beautiful women. He can read between the lines when he's on the brink of death in a conversation with another man who might kill him. All of these things are because James Bond has harnessed, understood, and accepted the wild man within him. And this is what attracts everything that a man will want. This is the shadow aspect of the man that must be accepted, and it's not accepted in today's society because it is associated with power. And the forces that be that exist today that are trying to strip men of their power are doing so for very good reason, because if you don't have powerful men, you can control them. When I visited Albania, I noticed a lot of the men are very strong, and they're not strong in the essence of like being able to have a good conversation with you, and a lot of them don't even know how to fight or do martial arts or anything like that. A lot of them don't have discipline, but they're strong in, I'm not going to let some guy or some government agency or whatever just punk me. That's how they are. They're like, I'm going to take care of my family first, and there's respect to that. So who is the wild man? I'm going to go through about 7 things in this video. A little more structure on this one. So, 1, we're going to go into the wild man. 2, we're going to go into why he's locked up. 3, we're going to go into the key under the mother's pillow. 4, the journey of initiation. 5, what happens when the wild man isn't reclaimed. 6, why the wild man is sacred. And 7, calling men back to the forest. So, first and foremost, who is the wild man? The wild man is primordial, instinctual, and it's the part of the masculine psyche. He lives beyond societal conditioning. He is untamed by politeness, political correctness, or approval seeking. In the book Iron John, he is hairy, earthy, and locked in a cage. This actually represents the repressed inner masculine modern man. So, modern man today, if you look at just the programming that exists and what we can see, um, I want to ask you a question. How many shows do you know in the past 30 years that have a strong, wise, um, articulate, but also savage in the essence where he's got a backbone man in any TV show? Give me any TV show where this man exists, especially if he's the father of the household. Give me any TV show. Let's look at one very great TV show that exists today, Rick and Morty. It's great for many reasons, but let's look into Jerry Smith, the husband. Even the name is a basic bitch name. He's a basic bitch. And his wife, Beth, completely runs the show. She wears the pants, and she has gotten to a point where she is so disrespectful to Jerry that he just curls up in a little ball and just takes it. And it's this constant bitchiness from her that actually makes her resent him even more. And what happens when a man has a woman resenting him that he lives with? That woman will withhold everything from him that he wants, and that mostly has to deal with the emotional connection that comes with sex and that feeling for a man. So now we have a bunch of men that are walking around that are all feigning political correctness. It was interesting when I did my Vipassana retreat. I met this girl. We met on the forum. We did a ride share together, and then we came back together. And I went out with this chick, and it was really interesting because she was a total just the highest level feminist I have ever met. And when I came back from that retreat, I was so full of truth. I was just like, nope, that's not true. Nope, that's not true. I don't believe that. What do you think about this? Nope. And before, I used to really simp for girls to be able to try and get in their pants, right? Like every other guy. But what I realized is that's not the move, because there's a disrespect that occurs in your own essence as a man if you do that. And it's in allowing this society to be so politically correct that we don't have a say anymore, that we will not fight for what we believe in. And this is actually what women ultimately want, is for us to put our balls on the table and say, nope, 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 nope. I don't believe that. That's not true. And it was really interesting because I was arguing with this girl, and she was getting so mad at me. And sorry, I wasn't even arguing. I was just telling her how it was. And she was getting so mad at me and emotionally stirred. And then when she went to leave, she just like, oh my God, you're so sexy. And I'm like, that makes no sense at all. But what was it? I was tapped into the essence of being my wild man. I was not telling her everything that everyone under the moon is saying to try and get into her pants. And so with the women, that's just an example, but it's everything in society. Like if you show up, I was just in this coffee shop, and I was talking to this girl. Right after that, because the guy next to me was working on business, he could see that I was talking to this beautiful girl. He starts talking to me. That would never happen before I was in my power. But when I was in my power and I was just being myself and showing up authentically, and women were responding to it, men wanted to, a random guy wanted to start a conversation with me, which never happened before. It's because I'm in the essence of the wild man. The wild man is extremely attractive to women. It's extremely attractive to clients because it is what God intended us to be wild, to lead from our heart. This is William Wallace type shit. Dope Corvette. So that's the wild man in essence. So let's talk about why he's locked up. Number 2, society has demonized the wild man, associating him with aggression, chaos, or violence. The number one thing that women will do in order to, and other men will do to take a man out of his power, is to call that man a creep. What's really interesting is I used to be really afraid of this, and there's still aspects of me that are, but there's the whole cancel culture that goes on too. So now a lot of men are so afraid to even talk to women. There are applications right now online, like the T app. It's only really prevalent in the United States. This app allows other women to share information about the men that they're dating. So they're all like kind of gossiping. But if I have a conversation with a girl online and I tell her I don't believe in feminism, she can then on the T app tell everyone, this guy doesn't agree with me. He's a creep. And she can just say that, and they won't even ask what I did. They'll just be like, oh well, another girl told me that he's a creep, and then boom, you get X-nayed, right? So it's really interesting because we live in this new era where people are complaining that men are not strong, but then they're using words like creep and all these other terminologies to try and cancel the essence of the masculine spirit so that we can all be equal. Well, the thing is, we're not equal. I have much higher level testosterone than a woman. She has much higher estrogen, progesterone, and she also has differing levels of estrogen and progesterone throughout the month. 4 times throughout the month, she's a completely different person. There are stages and cycles. My dad always says, he goes, never trust a thing that bleeds for a whole entire week and doesn't die. So we have this deep feminization that's happened that is locking up the wild man. Boys are told to behave, to be nice, to be quiet. This all is a manipulation tactic to cut them off from their power, their depth, and their vitality. This cage represents cultural domestication. Fathers who never initiated their sons, schools that punish instinct, and media that shames masculine intensity. When I was 4 years old, I was in preschool. I had this really scary teacher. I can remember her face. I don't remember her name. Miss Yolanda or some shit. She was super strict and I didn't like it. And I didn't like her, but I couldn't speak up because I'd get punished. So they would tell us, you got to raise your hand if you have to go potty. Well, I was afraid to even talk to Miss Yolanda. So what did I do? I just fucking pissed myself. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be 4 years old, to be around all your squad that you're trying to like become friends with? You're out of your house. You're not around your mommy. You're scared shitless of the world. And you got Miss Yolanda who's giving you death stares all the time because she hates kids, but she's working with kids. And then I'm told that I can't even exercise my right and my free will as a 4-year-old to go potty when I want to. Like I got to ask permission for that. So then what do? I piss myself. And then I got to ask permission for them to change my freaking my tidy whities. And my mom doesn't think that I'm gonna piss myself. So what does she do? She doesn't prepare me with extra clothes like the other kids who have already pissed themselves and have extra clothes. So I gotta borrow extra clothes from my boy Jared, and they gotta tell him and his mommy why Logan pissed himself. So now Jared's mom is probably thinking about, oh yeah, Logan's mommy and daddy, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, but look at how crazy this is in our society. Logan's mommy and daddy, one, didn't have clothes for him to piss himself in, and two, he pissed himself. So it's like, wow, what are we doing to our boys? If you look at the whole entire public school system, it is an indoctrination zone and mechanism designed by the Industrial Revolution in order to get people to be slaves for the rest of their working lives. Yeah, be a good little slave. Sit in your desk. Oh, Logie, you want to go on the playground right now? You're a little anxious? Well, nope. Here, tell me what 2 + 2 equals. Oh, nope. It does not equal 3. It equals 4. You're an idiot. Stay in your desk. You can't talk to your friends. You got to listen to me. You got to listen to me. You got to listen to me. I used to get isolated from my desk all the time. In 6th grade, I got booted. I got put on the island because I would be talking to my friends. I was trying to socialize, learn things, actually discuss things, actually have conversations about the shit we were learning. And I got booted. And I got taught at a young age that if I wanted to have conversations, if I wanted to stir the pot, if I wanted to even question the truth that the teacher was speaking with my fellow brethren, that it was bad. And what does that do? It makes good little soldiers. Oh yeah, you just turned 18 and you don't know what to do with your life? Instead of us allowing and helping facilitate you understanding what you actually want to do, why don't you just sign this form, sign your life away, we're going to vax you up, and you're going to go pull the trigger and kill people. People you don't even know, for some propaganda campaign that we created just so we could extract oil from another country. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to us. And so our little boy is locked up. Our little boy that's supposed to turn into this wild man, he's locked up. And it's our responsibility to save him, to open the cage and let him out. And to be there for ourselves, to be able to go, no, it's cool. All of society tells you you're crazy, you're a wild person. Well, yeah, we want wild men. We want wild men around. We want men who have actually been able to form a relationship with the wildness that exists. This is the shadow. This is the demon. This is the aspect that actually scares humanity about men. But if you lock it up and you put it away in a cage, it will come out even worse. it will come out with a fury. And that fury will actually be having a really soft society that loses everything. And another country that was the underdog for a very long time just comes through, and it's Mr. Steal Your Girl. We're going to take all your girls, and we're going to take all your money, and we're going to take everything, and you're just going to go into an internment camp because that's what we can do. That's what happens if we don't have wild men walking around. So 3, the key lies under the mother's pillow. It's a really interesting one. So when I was 25, I was a nurse. I was making stacks. I was making like 145K a year when I switched hospitals. That was a lot for me. And it was interesting because I was about to make the shift to move abroad and quit everything because I was very sick and I had systemic autoimmune disease and I was trying to figure things out. Well, when I finally made that decision, I sold everything. It was super painful. I sold my carbon fiber road bike. I sold my $3,000 mattress that I got. That was the IntelliBed, super nice. And I put a couple of things in boxes and threw it in a storage unit, and that was that. But when I left, I realized I was still a little bitch to my mommy. And when I say bitch, I'm not, there's no judgment. It's just like I was just a little girl, and I say that in terms of I had not cut the umbilical cord. So when I left, I still had, my mom was paying, despite me making that much money, my mom was still paying one of my bills. And this is the thing, guys. You might think that your mom paying your bill doesn't have anything to do with you being a man and that it's just cool. You got to cut the umbilical cord completely. You cannot allow your mom to have any jurisdiction over your freedom. So even though I had the ability to pay my own bill, the fact that I had a contract with my cellular company that my mommy was paying my bill still signals to God and universe that I got a mommy. My mommy's taking care of me in some way. We have to cut the umbilical cord. So the hardest thing for me when I left and moved to Colombia, I cut the umbilical cord with my mom completely. And it was a long process for me to really process everything. When you have a strong father figure, you don't need to cut the umbilical cord because Pops comes in and he's like, "Oh yeah, you've done your job, Mom, for some years, making sure our kid is strong enough. But now that he can walk around and he can hang with Pops and he can grab a hammer, we're good." Dad takes him out into the forest. Dad takes him into the wild. Dad shows him how to sharpen a sword. And then son naturally becomes a warrior and does not need to be or to cut the umbilical cord with mommy. Dad takes care of that. But if you're a man who didn't have that initiation from your father, like me, and you were raised by your mommy, it's really hard to walk away. So the key lies under your mother's pillow. In Iron John, in this book by Robert Bly, you have to actually, if you want to become a man and initiate yourself, if you haven't already, you have to actually sneak into your mom's bedroom and steal the key from under her pillow. That's all metaphor. You don't go wake your mom up in the middle of the night trying to do this. But you need to essentially let your mom know that you will no longer be leeching off of her. She will no longer be babying you. You are now a man. And sometimes mom needs to be reminded of this because mom might always try to put the key back under the pillow because she just wants to be mommy. But you don't let her. You let her know, no, I'm a man now. And you do that not through speaking it and telling her that you're a man. You do it through your actions and your behaviors and how you act around her. And you don't let her pay your bills at all. None of it. Symbolically, the boy must differentiate from the mother, break free from emotional enmeshment, and begin his journey into manhood. Until he does, he remains psychologically a boy no matter his age. So that's that. Number 4, the journey of initiation. The wild man mentors the boy through wounding, challenge, and descent into the forest, the unknown, the self. So if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have the rite of passage from the masculine elder, you're going to have to unlock the wild man by yourself, and this can be very challenging. I do recommend being around fellow men to be able to help this occur. Because when you're around fellow men who are being manly, it's a lot easier to understand how you're not being a man. So, this is the rite of passage modern men never got, being cracked open, humbled, and taught by a masculine elder. Through this, he becomes a man with depth, purpose, and backbone, not a performative alpha, quote unquote, but a king forged in fire. Look at the Spartans. They took their kids away from mommy, forged them into a warrior, and then said, "You're on the squad, bro. We're going to war." We don't have that anymore. This generation that's come up, especially the millennials, it's known as the fatherless generation. I don't know where in society that this started to occur. Maybe it's the mass propaganda campaigns that I was talking about with all the TV shows, but we have a fatherless generation where men are too afraid to be men, and they get into relationships with women, and they eventually attract the woman because they're being a man, and then they go full simp mode. And then the woman actually resents the man because the woman's job is to constantly check the man to make sure he's being a man, and they do that in extreme ways sometimes, and even it's not even conscious for them. That's the role of a woman. A woman keeps a man strong, but the man has to continuously not allow himself to fall into the comfort traps of society, the comfort traps of being around a woman and being comfortable with her. The thing is, if you start going under the blanket and snuggling with your missus 7 days a week, you're not actually outliving your mission, and then she starts to resent you for it. This is the shit that men are supposed to teach each other. This is why Patrice O'Neal, not only is he like a very good mentor for modern men, he passed away, but he has a podcast. He was wild. He was wild on his podcast. He would say some ridiculous shit, and it was at the level where today people go, "That's so misogynistic," right? But he was saying things from a wild place because he would not allow anything, not even society, to cancel him. He was saying what he believed to be true and what he saw from being out in the real world. Number 5, what happens when the wild man isn't reclaimed? The man becomes domesticated, safe, nice, but deeply resentful or numb. Or he overcompensates and becomes performatively macho, still disconnected from real depth. So this is really interesting. We got on one side, No More Mr. Nice Guy. This is a book. It's a good book. But it's a book that all these men are reading, and there's these No More Mr. Nice Guy men's groups now, where guys are spending like 3 years being in this No More Mr. Nice Guy, and they're learning to no longer put their needs above the needs of women, and no longer put their needs around the needs of their employer. And the thing is, I know a lot of guys who've been in these groups, and I have been in men's groups who talk about this book all the time. And the crazy thing is, like, if you want to not be a nice guy anymore, just go out into the world and start challenging your beliefs. Start asking yourself, like, oh, is that true? I believe that I can't go talk to that pretty girl right in front of her mom. Is that true? And then go do it. If you don't do it, you're just not having courage, and you're not being a man. Being a man is being able to test the illusions of your own reality. Oh, I don't believe I'm good enough for that girl. Let me go test it. When you go test it, you start to see reality differently. It's not what you thought it was because you had the courage. The other side of this is the compensatory macho man. I met this guy in Albania, knew 7 languages, so he said, 2 PhDs, 5 master's degrees, and this dude would work out 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and he was always just going on about just fucking work, just grind it, you just shut up, like you're a man, you're a man. If you're a man, that means that you cannot complain about anything ever. And I bought into his illusion for a couple months, 2 months max, and then I realized, oh my god, this is super unhealthy. it's it's super unhealthy because, one, he had a genetic condition in which he produced significantly more testosterone than the average man, and it also increased his cancer rates. So he had already had cancer at age 24 or something, and he was going and lifting like a madman while he was on chemotherapy. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can say that that's just his mindset, but there's definitely something genetic there in which most people would never be able to do that. And so it's funny because there's some overcompensatory men who will give advice to other men, and they have completely different factors at play that no other man has. And what I found is the guys who are extremely, that, like, look at the bodybuilders, the dudes who they can't even put their arm over their pec to stretch because their arm is so big. It's like, where is that coming from? Like, did you not have a man in your life to tell you that you were enough? There's so many men out there that will, you can read it online. They'll go, oh yeah, well, you only were able to get that girl because you're 6 foot tall, or she only likes you for your money. She only likes you because you have a really nice body. But they don't understand that you can go to any of these countries in the Balkans, you can go to Russia, where they have some of the most beautiful women in the world, and you will see women that you could not even put on a metric of 10 out of 10. You will see those women with a guy who's fat, doesn't dress well, and has he's got a massive beer belly. So how do you explain that? Well, the dude's just a man, and of course there's cultural factors at play. But in America, society is fed this illusion that you, in order to get a good man, you got to have a guy that's got a Lamborghini and all this money and all this stuff, and it's complete bullshit. And the real women, the good women, the women that are in their divine feminine, know that that's not real. And so that's why you can see guys who don't fit the narrative of a strong masculine man. You can see guys who are over compensatory, where they're just working their ass off all the time and they don't have any chicks. There's tons of those guys. There's tons of dudes that are on steroids and lifting in the gym, and they have the most fragile egos. There was one guy I knew. He had Nordic blood. He was a Viking essentially. He was a ginger, super big dude. He was like 6'5", 230 pounds at least. We bring him into the jiu-jitsu gym in Colombia, and one of the purple belts wraps him up real quick and has him in a bad position, and he goes to pull his fist back because all he knew was, if this guy's going to destroy my ego like this, I'm going to punch him in the face. If he did that, he would have gotten absolutely destroyed, but he didn't. And then right after that, I was only a white belt at the time, I choked this dude out with the triangle. It was wild. And I'm like, oh wow, that's what your gym has gotten you. You going to the gym every day to look really big and strong. And he would be coaching and telling people how to live your life. And then we brought him into the dojo, and he didn't do that anymore because he's like, oh shit, these guys actually know things that I don't know at all. It's really beautiful. If you're looking for like rites of passage, go sign up for a jiu-jitsu gym or a Muay Thai gym or anything like that. Jiu-jitsu gym is generally better because you have ranking systems, and it helps hold you accountable. Even though the ranking systems are kind of bullshit, it's good to go to. So what happens when the wild man isn't reclaimed? Without the wild man, he lacks initiation into grief, power, and sacred rage. These are all the things that you need to be able to protect your family. You need to be able to feel your grief. You need to be able to understand what power is, what it is not, how you want it to be for yourself, and how to actually be powerful. So much of what I'm doing now with these videos, and just expressing myself, is learning what power is and how I can be benevolent with it. Because for the longest time in my life, I was so disempowered, and I couldn't see the beauty of myself that other people saw. So many people would be like, Logan, you're a natural leader. But I could not see that. I did not understand it, and I was afraid of what power represented. But the thing was, I was just um, indoctrinated to the false belief of what power is. Many people think that power is associated with corruption, greed, and all the things that are negative in society. Well, real power doesn't need any of that. Real power doesn't mean that you need to force other people into your belief systems or to do what you want to do or make them slaves. Real power is being able to genuinely and authentically express yourself, captivate people, and not in the way that you make them captives. Look at the words that we have in our language system. It's crazy. To be able to inspire people is a better word, and allow them to make their own decisions off of if they want to be empowered too. Power in terms of forcing people, manipulating them, gaslighting them in order to get them to do what you want to do, making them feel a little bit smaller and keeping them there so that you can feel bigger, and they pedestalize you. That's not real power. That's not power at all. That's control. And if you have to control things, you're not powerful because you can't surrender to the most powerful thing that is, which is God. So I have been learning a lot about power dynamics, and I've been accepting more and more that I'm a powerful man, and I'm powerful because I am a man. When we can just accept that and be like, what is power? Well, power is the ability to make things happen and to like force your will onto society and say, nope, this is how I'm going to make things happen. And other people will fall into your frame, and not fall into your frame because you're tricking them. It's just like they want to be led by you. It's good to be a leader. It's okay to be a leader, and you're not making other people feel small just because you're a leader and they're not. The people that will feel small are the ones who need that medicine. It's their own shit that they got to deal with. I've been there before where I felt small around powerful men, and I had to work on myself. So it inspired me to get in the gym, to lift some metal, to chew glass, breathe smoke. So number 6, why the wild man is sacred, not savage. So here's the thing. Rudolf Steiner talks about this a lot. There's the angel demon concept. The thing about men that is really repressed in our society is this ability to be a savage. If you want to understand savagery, go to a country like Brazil. Those guys are absolutely crazy. Like they're they have a lot of them have toxoplasmosis G, which is a parasite, cat parasite, which makes them impulsive and sexually crazy. So that's at play, but they're more in their animal. They're more in their essence, especially in like Rio de Janeiro and other parts of Brazil. Um, they're more savage, and that's the lower chakra system. Now, where they get into trouble is they're not connected to God as much. They say they are, but then they have these crazy events like Carnival, which is just a big orgy. And they're not connected to the higher part, whereas this like Orthodox Christian Western mentality is more so based off of the higher chakras, which is like throat, third eye, crown, connection to God, and being able to speak. But then there's no savageness to it. So like you can go into a boardroom as a Westerner and you can be speaking, but if you don't have the conviction and the feeling of being connected to your heart and being in your root chakra, which is your savagery, your belly, like some guy just starts trying to take over the board meeting, you go, up, 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 up. Not gonna happen, bro. That's being in the belly. That's being in the three primal chakras, which allow you to protect, allow you to defend. It's that war zone mentality where you can make shit happen as a man. If you're not connected to that, which is the groundedness and the presence in this reality, you will not be able to protect things, and you won't have women around you, and you won't close business deals as much as you could if you had all of them integrated. So why the wild man is sacred, not savage? He's not about unchecked aggression. He's the guardian of integrity, courage, and grounded truth. He teaches men to feel their pain fully, face the dark, and stop betraying themselves for comfort. He lives close to the earth. That's the presence, that's the root chakra. His body and his instincts. The instincts is the belly. Also, you could also call it your solar plexus, but it's the feeling of being here, being alive, moving forward, being a man, being a fucking animal, a killer if you have to be. That feeling, I'm speaking from my belly right now. I can feel it. I'm in my body. I can feel my feet on the ground. I can feel my belly. I can feel my throat. I can feel my heart. I'm here now and I'm speaking directly to you. This is the essence of how we're supposed to be all the time as men. If we cultivate this, practice it, and are diligent and disciplined in being able to say, nope, society, you're not going to fuck me today. And that brings us to point number 7, calling men back to the forest. The modern man must return to the inner forest, not to escape, but to reclaim what was lost. Your work, your self-expression, your presence, it's all part of calling him back. I spend so much time trying to find rites of passage and listening to other men telling me how I should be living my life. And I listened to them and I did things and I realized that the best way for me to live my life is to go live it, go in the streets, go get my hands dirty, listen to other men, get mentored by them, but not give them authority, and go and do it. The worst thing you can do as a man is to not do the things that you're supposed to be doing that you know you should be in order to learn who you are as a man. So I was studying all this pickup stuff because I didn't know how to talk to girls. I was super shy. I studied that stuff for years and I would go out and I would test some of it, but I was so afraid. I had so much pain in my body and I was so afraid to just go into it. I'm looking for my phone and it's the one I'm shooting this video off of. That's hilarious. I was so afraid to go into that pain and just feel it and get direct feedback from reality to remove the illusion that was there, which was telling me I wasn't enough, I wasn't worthy, I'm not good enough for this. Why would a woman ever want me? All that bullshit. All I had to do was continuously show up for myself every day by saying, nope, I'm going to challenge that belief. And I'm going to do it in the real world through real people. I'm not going to do it through reading a book and preparing and preparing and preparing. If I just prepare long enough, then I'm finally going to make it. And one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be good. There is no tomorrow. The future does not exist. It does not exist. We do not know when we're going to die. So we go after it every day and we get our hands dirty in the streets. And we go and see how reality actually is. We cultivate strong relationships with fellow men. If you guys want to do that, Ubuntu Fellowship, this is the logo. Fellowship. We're on a ship together. We're voyaging out into the stormy waters that is life as men. And we're doing it together. Not from a place of, oh, I'm the king of the ship. You must listen to me. From a place of, we're all kings. Let's fucking go. Let's see what happens. Super fun. We're going to have a meetup in Northern California pretty soon, within the next couple weeks. So I'm excited for that. I'll keep you guys in tune there. Iron John is the book that this is based off of. Very good book. A lot of concepts. As a man, if you read that book, there are going to be a lot of things in which you should immediately implement, especially if you're a man who still has the mommy stuff going on, or overcompensating, trying to be cool, or not compensating enough because you don't believe in yourself. All of this can be solved by being around other men who can just call you out. I love being around other men because when I get called out, I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel too good. And then boom, change, boom, change. And then men respect me because they're like, oh, he got called out and he changed. Cool. We can fuck with this guy. It's the same thing. So that's that. Have a great day. God bless. Later.